All right, guys, welcome back. It is Mondays. And so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about money. What kind of money I made last week, what my plans are for next week, what I'm doing this week. And the topic of everything today is number one of all things, always is going to be consistency. By the way, I did hit the gym. I just realized it was too complicated for me to be able to do this and that at the same time. So it was just a character flaw, maybe. I don't know. But we're still going to do this every Monday and Wednesday. I'm going to be here doing this every single week, whether you're here or not. Come by, stop by, let me know what you think in the comments. If you have questions, comments, concerns over anything that I discuss, just put it down there. We'll get a hold of you right away. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, and really the number one main thing I'm going to talk about today, is Section 8. Why am I going to talk about that? Well, because it's the topic on demand right now. I noticed a couple of different things last week while I was going through landlord orientation in different public housing authorities around my area. And what I realized is that people are pulling out of that program left and right. And it makes me ponder why. Is it fear? Is it because a lot of the people that were thinking it was going to be a quick, easy buck are backing off, or there are actual policy changes that are coming down the pike that are going to do something like that to affect the housing authority's ability to operate the voucher program versus us as landlords being able to operate within it? The short answer is that's not going to happen for a long time. And so I'm ramping up everything that I'm doing. I would love to buy every single Section 8. And in fact, it's been a long time coming. I have extensive background in this. And so that's our Money Mondays, is I'm using all of my skill sets from the background. So I'll give you some quick numbers here, right? Maybe we can have them flash across the screen or something like that, right? So first one would be my purchase price, right? So what did I purchase this house for? Again, we're going to go back to the basics here. I purchased the house over asking with the seller finance contract of $360,000. The house is worth about $345,000. Let's go over rents here real quick and how we can manage this. And remember, you always want to have at least one backup plan, if not multiple, right? And so that's why you see a lot of investors focus on the long-term rents all the time, right? So we're talking about money here, right? Is money in, money out. What is our cash on, cash return? If money goes out, how fast and how far or how big does it come back to me, right? And so that's basically what we're talking about today is, okay, well, my first order of business is if shit hits the fan and I can't do any of my fancy exit strategies, midterm rent, co-living or any of the other cool stuff that's out there, at a minimum, if I'm going to purchase this property, I got to at least be able to get rid of it, meaning I have to purchase it with equity. And if I don't have equity, I have to make sure that I have an exit strategy that's going to substantiate or going to facilitate, rather, all of the different pieces that I agreed to. And in this situation, this house, thankfully, because of the negotiation tactics of my team, got this to a point where it does cash flow as a long-term rental, but just barely, right? So but it doesn't cash flow quite enough to cover all of our, if we couldn't rent out PML. And so there are some risks there, but we have other properties and other investments that we showed our partners and we could basically collateralize or at least substantiate the amount that we can cover that come hell or high water. No matter what, we're going to hit our payments, no matter what our PML is going to get paid, or our partner, whoever that is, right? So there's number one, right? So a cash flow's there barely, and we'd have to, rinse that money out, and it would be more of a pain in the butt, right? Well, if you look at Section 8 now, why would I look at that? Well, I do have the background. It is my backyard. I do have a lot of education in this. However, I hadn't really thought about it through the lens of a landlord quite yet up until just recently, like this year. And so getting into it, then you got to wait for the right opportunity. And when it's there and you finally see it, then you can strike, right? And so when we talk about Money Mondays, it always comes down to the numbers, folks. So if you don't know your numbers, you won't recognize the opportunity because the opportunity is all based on the numbers. So you have to know your shit in short. So Section 8 rents in the area. Now let's talk about money, right? So if we were to go look at fair market rents, we can go and see that in that zip code 76179, it looks like it pays like $3,700, $4,000 a month. And that would, to the layperson, that'd mean like, oh, I can go get $4,000 a month in rent. Is that the accurate piece? No, right? So Money Mondays means that I had to spend time, which is what? Money, right? I had to spend time and re-educate myself from a different level of the program that I hadn't necessarily been familiar with. I was always Section 8 adjacent and working with grant dollars and things like that. So that's what I invested my time in heavily last week and this week, was getting all of that stuff set up and making sure that when we do our initial inspection, which is happening next week, that we're good to go. There's not going to be any new things, right? So that's the number one thing I think in this quick little 5-minute video that I've got you guys here with is know your numbers. And if it's Money Mondays for a reason, it's that. The only reason why I was confident and I could get this in front of the people that were willing to invest with me is because I know my numbers. I've done my research. I knew a lot of that before I even got into it, but knowing what I could get out of the property, knowing that I could get $2,800 a month in rent there. And I knew before they even submitted it that it was going to be approved. And why did I know that? I knew it because I studied the numbers. So for Money Mondays, that's me, that's Eric. I'll see you guys next Monday. Remember, Wednesday is Wholesale Wednesdays. We're going to talk over ethics. We're going to talk over different strategies for wholesale coming up here on Wednesday. I'll see you guys then. Thanks.